Yeah, we designated spitters live every week. Live, designated homie, cause we spit heat. We designated spitters, Francis and Pete. Yes, talking Yankee baseball, hip hop for the streets. Yup, we designated. Yup, we innovative. Yup, we designated. Spitters time that you know. Yup, we designated. Yup, we innovative. Yup, we designated. Spitters, let's start the show.
I really feel like we gotta start this episode off almost with a song. Ain't no sunshine when MLB is gone. Fam,
Ain't no sunshine when they not negotiating.
Nah, man.
Man.
We're gonna cover all that, everybody. But by the way, real quick, welcome to the Designated Spittaz, guys. We are obviously happy to be here for you guys. Happy to have some conversation. Happy to talk baseball. We got a lot to cover today, which is really nice. It's really nice to be able to have some things to cover.
Sir. We got a lot of stuff on the docket. But before I forget, something I noticed, right? I'm listening to the other podcast and I'm like, we don't even do it. And it's crazy because we like the flagship. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Francis Lee. You know I'm here with the great Pete Simonetti. And in case you don't know already, this is the Designated Spittaz podcast, which of course is brought to you by the legendary NyynewsTV. So if you are not subscribed to NyynewsTV, please go and do that ASAP. Not just on YouTube, but of course on Apple Podcasts. Yes, we are on
5
Apple
stars,
Podcasts.
baby.
So please like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star rating. And, put a nice little comment in there. Tell us what you think about us. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys are great. They know baseball. They're good looking. I like listening to them. You know what I'm saying? I don't like Boone either. Like, I don't know. Say whatever you want.
Throw something in there for me. Be like, hey, Pete, we hate Boone too. You get a 5 just because of that. But anyway.
Exactly.
My fiance is now Francis Lee's biggest fan because she yells at me every single episode, every video we make. She goes, babe, how many times do I got to tell you? Please talk about subscribing and talk about the podcast on Apple. Like, get it done. And I never do it. So, friends, I appreciate it, man.
No, bro,
that's what we do here.
What?
That's what we do here, though.
We're a team. I figured, you know what? I was like, look, Pete took care of the read, right? Pete's taking care of all the behind-the-scenes stuff, which I'm telling you guys, we can't thank him enough. I know you guys, this is the work that you guys don't see. You see Pete in front of the camera, you see him on the mic, but you don't see all the stuff that goes in behind the scenes. Him, Felix, Chris. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Felix, right? But I said, you know what? If I can help, at least when we're on the air, throwing that in there, getting our subscriptions up on Apple Podcasts, getting our reviews up, our ratings. And by the way, shout out to you two jabronis who left us the 1-star reviews. We love you too.
Yeah, facts.
We love you too. So go on. Shout out to y'all. You ain't stopping nothing over here though.
No,
see we back.
And I just a FYI to the people with the 1 stars and all that who want to do that. God bless you. It does continue to bring us up in the charts, so we appreciate it. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you do leave a, if you were one of those people, leave a comment, man. Show who you are. Talk a little bit about, like, hey guys, let's meet in the alleyway or something.
My thing is, my brother,
we could go at each other.
Pete just wants to put the gloves on. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Nah,
with
frick
you.
that. Hey.
Pete is sick and tired of you. He's sick and tired of you.
Man. I'm getting old. I think I was talking to Rod the other day. Rod Thompson, shout out to family over there, man. I was talking to Rod about a few things, like, we always chat about life and things like that. And I'm talking to Rod the other day, and I said, fam, look, man, the one thing I gotta say is I feel like I'm getting old, man. I feel like I'm getting old for real, because everything that I used to be able to do, I can't do as easily anymore. I just can't.
Yeah.
Like, me and my son, like I told you today, I was like, he was like, we got to film at this time. And I was like, cool, yeah, that's perfect time for me. We'll do that then or whatever. Man, I came back joking around friends. I'm like, man, I hope I don't come back with 2 pulled hammies or nothing. Bro, my Achilles on my right leg is killing me.
Yeah, man. The thing is that we start aging out of our prime, and the kids start aging into their prime.
Facts.
And it's a competition, because it's like, I don't care if you're going into your prime. You ain't about to burn me out in these streets. I'll tell you that.
And by the way, real quick, I am modeling all of our gear. Look, I got the hat, the T, the cup, DS all over today. Go to nyy.news/shop. Get yourself some of our gear, your favorite podcast, whatever you want. You know when the season begins, and we know who the hell is on our roster. There's going to be more stuff for you guys out there. So
let me tell you guys.
Know that,
let me tell you guys. We got great stuff. We got great stuff over there for our podcast. We got great stuff over there for our fellow podcasts on the channel.
Yep.
We got great stuff over there for the banner, the flagship that is NyynewsTV. Go cop yourself something nice. Valentine's Day's coming up tomorrow. Treat yourself.
Is it tomorrow?
Treat yourself.
Is it tomorrow or Monday?
Because we release and then.
Shit. God, see, that tricks me.
I'm always trying to talk in the
Correct. You're always trying to talk in the moment, which I should do.
In the moment.
I should do, Pete. You know better than that. We've been doing this for a minute. But
hard,
to start off the show, we got obviously
sir.
some somber news, a little sadder news than something that we normally bring. Former Yankee Gerald Williams passed away, and we know what a big part of Derek Jeter's life, and from what I hear, my understanding from a lot of people, Ozzy had a heartfelt message. Andrew Jones really liked Gerald, but the one thing that you see when stuff like this happens, yes, everybody usually wants to say something nice, but the one thing that I feel like we saw a lot from a lot of people when talking about Gerald Williams was truly how great of a guy he was. Teammate, friend, just a good person that you'd want around you is what I get of. Of course, the Derek Jeter story was he was getting bullied, and Gerald Williams confronted the bully, whoever that was, and was like, if you're going to keep messing with him, then you're messing with me next. And from that moment, they were best of friends. And, I feel like we always have somebody in our life like that when we're younger that we look up to. And looks like for Jeet, it was Gerald Williams. And it looks like for a lot of players, Gerald Williams was kind of that clubhouse guy where it was like, I'm going to be an enforcer too a little bit and keep things in line, or I got your back no matter what. So very, very sad for Major League Baseball. Even sadder because he's so young. That sucks.
Yeah.
That's the thing that always gets me. And something that scares me in my life ever since I had my incident is how quick time goes, how fast time goes, and how little time we actually do have on this earth. So I just personally wanted to say rest in peace to Gerald Williams. I know I'm one of the many who said it, and just that, man. I just want to say rest in peace. Cancer's a terrible thing. I hope we can fix it one day, solve it one day, whatever it takes, whatever it is. It's a terrible, terrible disease. We've all lost people from it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I guess I just want to echo that sentiment. I don't think there's really much to add. I think you said it perfectly. Rest in peace to Gerald Williams. Rest in peace to his family. Not to his family, but condolences to his family. It's really hard to lose someone. It's really difficult to lose someone, but to lose someone at that age is, even when they're sick, even when you know that they're going through it, like you try to prepare yourself mentally, but there's really no way to prepare yourself for something like that, to lose somebody that young in their life who you feel like still had so much to give. So, I do want to shift it a little bit from a sad note to make it a note of, praise and thanksgiving, in a sense that, this man was able to live somewhat of a full life in his short time on earth. And he definitely made a difference in a lot of people's lives. And he definitely meant a lot to a lot of people. And I think, there's people who live 100 years and don't leave the mark that Gerald did. So, if there's one thing you can be proud of as a family member or a close friend of his, is that this was a great man who definitely left his mark and definitely did what he came to do in this world. I wouldn't have any doubts about that. So definitely rest in peace.
I agree. I think one of the things you could do best in life is if you leave this life, whatever you believe afterwards, if you better other people's lives, I think you've done your job. I really believe that. I feel like even if it's just your immediate family, if you left them with a better chance, you left them with a better life. We talk about a lot of generational wealth, things of that nature. You build a foundation for them. They got something that they're living off. They remember you for that. Or even if you don't, even if it's not wealth, it's life lessons, things they learned from you. Maybe things you've done to help them, to assist them. People remember that, and I think that's what keeps all of our memories alive, is things of that nature. So Gerald Williams definitely impacted a lot of people. No question about it.
Yes, he did.
No question about it. Yes, he did. On to some active and current Major League Baseball ball players.
Yes, sir.
One of them being the big story that's out there right now, and a lot of people got opinions on this. That is Trevor Bauer. Francis, we've all talked about in our chat. I think this is one that we don't really have much disagreement on at all. No. I think we kind of really think the same here. And unfortunately, we're in a world right now where I don't want to say unfortunately. So let me rephrase. That's a fortunately. Not even fortunately. I don't know what word to use there. It's not really a fortunate or unfortunate thing. We're in a time right now where there's this idea out there that you have to believe all women. That was something that I know a lot of politicians were pushing during the whole Me Too thing, was that all women have to be believed. I want to rephrase that idea to all people should be listened to. Any crime committed that you bring up to somebody, that crime situation should be listened to. You should hear that person out, and it should be fully investigated if there's real value there at the jump. If there's okay, there's obviously something here. Now let's figure out what happened. Trevor Bauer, whether you hate him or not, Gary Sheffield Jr. made some really good points on this one, and I want to echo one of the things he said. The biggest problem for Trevor Bauer is that he's not liked already before this. He's a guy that people seen along those lines of he's a loud talker on Twitter. He says this, he says that. However you want to see it, this is a guy that everybody, not everybody, a lot of people out there, especially on Twitter, was very happy to jump at him and call him any name in the book. Once this news came out, they wanted to cancel Bauer. The Dodgers should get rid of him. Hell, even Dodgers players said they don't want to play with him no more. They didn't wait either. So, anyway, fast forward, investigation's done. Rachel Luba, he even said it before. Wait till all the evidence comes out. They ask people to do it and they respect privacy, and then the truth would be uncovered. Come to find out, there was no charges that were ever going to be filed. The whole thing seems really bad for the girl. There's a lot of evidence there that proves it was consensual. However you think about that type of sexual interaction, it was agreed upon. And there's a lot of evidence to that. It looked like she was really trying to scheme a Major League ball player based on some other text messages that were out there with other friends during that time. So what is your takeaway from all this stuff?
My first takeaway is that we live in a very sad society. I think, I want to come out from the outset by saying I am by no means a, huge Trevor Bauer fan.
I'll say the same thing.
Yeah.
By the way.
I think if you anybody, it takes 15 seconds, you can go into my tweets. I know I saw some from Pete last off season where he was, conducting himself, in a way that was like, it just seemed a little bit clout chasey to me. And it's like, that's really not my vibe. I like players who play with swag. So honestly, I have something inside of me that really wants to like him because of how he goes about his business on the field.
Yeah.
But there were things last year during the offseason, like the way that he was like covering everything and like just really like made it like a kind of thing where it was just like, everybody look at me, everybody look at me, everybody look at me, everybody look at me.
Yep.
And it was just like, I get it, bro. Like, I know you're in the content business now and I understand that. But I feel like there was a way to go about that, doing the same thing in a more humble way, in a way that was more inclusive of the fans. And like, in the end, the way it ended with that whole like miscue with the Mets stuff going up on the website and then ended up signing with the Dodgers. Like, I was like, man, if you're going to do something this large scale, like have your shit tight, like have your shit buttoned up. Don't have something coming out like that at the end. And 1 minute they think you're with the Mets, then it's like, no, I'm actually signing with the Dodgers. It's like, it's not, you know what I mean? It just, that came off a little messed up to me. And then from there, I was just like, yeah, I'm not really a big fan of this guy. As a person off the field or whatever, but on the field, he's one of the best talents in the game. And that I'm a person who can separate off the field and on the field things, right? So even though I didn't like how that went last year during the season, I was like, well, if he pitches a good game, I'm going to give him his credit. Just the same way, like if he pitches a bad game, I'm going to give him his credit. That has nothing to do with how I feel about him for what he did, with the free agency thing, right? Fast forward to these allegations and everything that comes out. I approach it the same way because I don't like the way he went about documenting his free agency experience, and then the announcement that came after he did choose a team and everything. That doesn't mean now I can just say, well, this guy was a jerk then, and I didn't like him. So these allegations have to 100% be true.
Right.
I'm not that kind of person.
Right.
That's not how I am. And I think that there's the issue that we're encountering right now is that there's way too many people who are that way, who think just because you believe this guy's a jerk already, you're just looking for anything that comes out and corroborates what you already feel. Anything that goes against what you currently feel about the person, you just don't admit. You just don't allow its admission into your thought process.
Right.
Thus, what happens now when the LA District Attorney's Office decides not to file any charges, people are just like, well, of course they're not going to file charges. I mean, he's a white man, he's a pitcher, he probably just found a way around due process, or they probably just didn't want to do this, or they didn't want to. It's like, yeah, I get it, but you're saying all this because you don't like it, right? Because had it been a player you liked, you would be on the other side championing the justice system, like, wow, great job, LADA, great job not filing charges. This was a bogus case from the start. Let's get our guy back on the field. Let's do that. And, I hate to put a hypothetical on a player because once you say whatever, but like, I'm saying it like, you all love Ohtani. If something like this came out about Ohtani, I guarantee, the initial outcry is going to be, well, we need to get the facts. Let's get the facts.
Well, somebody you like, it's always like that, isn't it? That's what we're seeing in our society today, especially Twitter alone. I mean, I'll just throw this out there, and I'm not going to dive into this, and I rather me and you don't even dive into it, even though I think we agree on this. Did we not see this through politics over the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years?
Oh, yeah.
150 investigations that came back with nothing, and everybody said, oh, guilty, you're this, you're that, you're this. And we're just seeing it fall over into aspects of everybody else's life. If one person comes out and goes, I claim this person's that, if you're not necessarily liked by a certain group, you're the worst thing in the planet.
You're done.
And I mean, you're done. You're guilty. You're at the end of the day, it's kind of sad because it's almost like public opinion now is greater than the final jury verdict.
The worst thing is, and you guys can quote me on this, whether you agree or disagree. The worst thing is, there is no due process.
None.
With public opinion.
None.
There is no due process with public opinion.
And that needs
once
to
they convict you, that's it. They don't care about
that.
Shit
needs to end.
They don't care about the proof. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about any of that.
Yeah.
Once they've convicted you, that is their verdict, and they're sticking to it. It's guilty until proven innocent. And even when you've been proven innocent, if we don't like you, you're still guilty.
You're still guilty.
That's
right.
It.
That's right.
Right. And that's where I'm at with this.
Bro,
whole
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this right off the bat right now. It's almost Valentine's Day. I don't even care. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. I'm gonna say this right now.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of scheming bitches out there, and you can take that. You can take that how you want it. Anybody.
Oh, they gonna come for you. They gonna come for me.
This whole idea.
They gonna come for you, Pete.
This whole idea that a woman would not lie about a man abusing them or any of that stuff. Yeah. Even the other way around with men. There's a lot of scheming ass men. But to sit there and go, you must listen or believe. No. There's a process in place no matter who you are. Black, white, red, green, orange, female, male, whatever the hell the other genders are that these nutcases are telling us. 5 million other genders. It does, like The Rock said, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of people out there that do anything to get money. And Francis, you brought this up, and I'll have you even talk about it more, but I want to say it. Yeah. I want to say it because you are right. Bauer's biggest problem here is he didn't go about the whole situation the right way. My man, you're a major league ball player. You're a target already to any woman out there. If you were gay, you're a target to any man out there.
Same. Yep.
No difference.
Oh, yeah.
You need to protect yourself. However you do it, I don't give a poot. I don't give a poot about what the legal remedy is of doing that. I don't care. And I'm not here to give that. I don't give a poot about it. But you need to protect yourself. It's that simple. You brought that up. You're like, man, I mean, you're a major league ball player, right? You got these basketball players doing it. Football players getting involved with girls and things happen. What do you expect to happen?
No, I'm glad. I'm so glad you brought that up because I brought that up in our group chat with the other podcast hosts. Because that was my initial reaction. Like I was like, I see people crucifying him and everything like that, but I was like, with the evidence that's out now, what people are trying to get at him for, I was like, I can't stand behind that. Like when I look at this evidence and they put out, granted, like this is public information now, people. So you don't got to take my word for it. Exactly. Go out there, Google it, go find it. I'm not through all the papers yet. Chef said he looked at some of it too, but he's not through all of it. It's a lot. There's a lot. I couldn't get through it in 3 days. It just wasn't. There was no way. But from what I've seen thus far, it's like, bro, sorry, man. She's got no freaking case, no, like none whatsoever. So I was like, I can't kill him for that. But in the group chat, I was like, what I do want to hold him accountable for is
being stupid.
Jesus, Trevor, like that was stupid. Like you didn't know this woman. You had no prior relationship with this woman, and you just agreed to engage in sexual intercourse with her, and take it a further level and say, oh, you want to do rough sex? Oh yeah, fuck it, let's go, and not have an NDA and not have a like, bro, you just went through a negotiation. You just went through a grueling negotiation to sign a contract to play a game, a child's game. Do you see how hard they go for signing contracts for grown men to play a child's game?
Yep.
You see how serious they make that? You don't think sex is that much more serious when you're making that kind of money and you mean that much to a brand that is global?
You got to protect yourself, man.
You got to protect
yourself, man.
And that's where I said Trevor was stupid. Like for that, if there's people out there killing him for that, then I agree with you 100%. That was stupid on his part. You can't, I'm sorry. And listen, this is one of those things where an athlete can turn back around and say, oh yeah, easy for you to say, because you know what? Might be easy for me to say, but guess what? It's not my fault you're in the position that you're in. All right. You worked hard, you worked your ass off to get there. Now you're making the big bucks. Now you're everywhere. You're a superstar. You got to deal with everything that comes with it. The same way that you're dealing with a different class of women and dealing in a different class of financial wealth, you need to deal in a different class of personal security, my brother.
Damn right. Damn right.
That's up to you. And there's nobody out there who's gonna do it for you, bro.
Bro,
and
look,
I don't just want to put it on him. Also, he's got an agent. He's got managed. Like somebody somewhere should have talked to him about this.
No doubt about it. And it's even at like certain levels. You know, let's. I mean, God, I'm talking about like you don't have to be a multimillionaire to be a target. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a known multimillionaire to be a target by people. I mean, people will target you.
There's thousandaires getting caught on this.
Damn right, 100%. So,
oh yeah,
the whole situation of it is just like, you know, the one thing I will say is that Rachel Luba, who is the agent of Trevor Bauer, and Trevor Bauer before too, all they asked for the public to do before the whole thing went and there was an investigation was, we know what happened. Please wait.
Before passing the judgment.
People aren't going to do that anymore in today's society. Nope. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
I do want to give them credit for that. Because I just came off bashing them for not, going about NDAs and things like that. But I do want to give them credit for when this shit did hit the fan. Their initial response could have just been coming out like, yeah, this story's bullshit. Yeah, Trevor's not guilty. Yeah, this case is completely unfounded. There's going to be no. They came out and they didn't say, you have to believe he's innocent. No, they came out and said, all we ask is that you guys wait for the facts to reveal themselves.
Right.
That is exactly how you go about a situation like that.
Correct.
To me, that part of it, once the shit hit the fan, that's a silver lining to me. Because a lot of times in situations like this with athletes, the shit hits the fan and the athlete and their management and PR people, they don't know how to make the situation any better. They just keep making it worse. They keep digging a hole. Either they don't say anything and people are like, where is this guy? Where are they? They're not, there's no comment. There's no this, or they do say shit, but they're just digging themselves a bigger hole. I think what they were able to do was quiet Trevor Bauer, which I know is not an easy thing to do. Right.
Correct.
But we said it. We both said it. And I think we both gave him credit for that. Like, at least he's doing the right thing. He's not out here talking. He's not carrying on, even though he knew that he was innocent the whole time. He could have been out here dragging his balls all over Twitter. Like, I don't care what you guys say. Watch when the facts come out. You guys are going to have to eat your words. But he could have been doing all of that. And knowing the kind of player the person that he's shown himself to be, like with free agency and all that beforehand, I'm sure there was part of him that wanted to go out there and just shut people up. Like, y'all all talking without having the facts. And I have the facts and I can't, but he didn't. He stayed quiet. And he let that last statement resonate this entire time.
Yep.
Please
And
allow time for the facts to reveal them.
I'll throw this out there too. The other thing he didn't have to do was the video he made.
Oh no, he did.
I mean, look, a lot of men will see that as, that's my personal life. Look, it's a little embarrassing to talk about what I might like to do. Some people might think I'm a sick dude. Some people might think there's something wrong with me. I don't have to come out and go, look, I like rough sex, or we engage in rough sex, and then we got this and that. Some dudes don't got to talk about that. He had no reason to do that. You know what I mean?
I'm happy he did.
He sat in front of a camera. You know, I see some, oh, this is scripted. What? Scripted?
It's not scripted. You know how much shit that you see on TV that's unscripted? You don't watch anything these days. You know why people love podcasts so much? Because we're some of the only media that exists in the world that's unscripted. That's why people fuck with us.
I've always said it. I don't plan for jack shit.
Yeah.
Every video I've ever made, everybody knows. I'll show you. Like, I'll write notes and I'll be like, look, today I got a note. Let me read it. I don't prepare for jack shit. I think it's best when, you know, and I also, too, like, you know, that's the team I got, you know. We don't need to do much preparation. We just say, hit record, bro.
Let's
and
go.
It's time to go.
Live.
Here's our topics. Go. And we're good to go. So,
bro, that whole argument is just, it's silly. Like,
it's bad.
You're not going to put his first public statement on camera about this whole thing after all this time, and you think they're going to leave it up to chance that he leaves a detail out or says something incorrectly for you guys to go take and run with. That's why they say you're damn if you do, you're damn if you don't. Because if he would have went off the cuff, if he would have went unscripted, he might have misspoke. He might have left out a detail. He might have said something wrong. And then what would people have done? They would have grabbed that and said, "Oh, look, see, he did do this, or he said that, or he whatever." So they were just looking for something like that, and they were mad that it was scripted because now it was too airtight for them to pick it apart.
Yep.
Give me a break. You
know, I am gonna let me jump into this real quick, Francis, if you don't mind, on a little bit of a lighter note, or however you want to see this, but
lighter or cleaner,
might be a little cleaner. Let's see, woman out there. So all the ladies out there, I said something before that, you know, could hurt your feelings and all, but I'm gonna make it up to you right now.
Oh yeah,
it's almost Valentine's Day. You know what I'm talking about? And the amazing thing is, you want one thing for your man on Valentine's Day. Let's be honest.
That is true.
You want that dude to have some clean ass balls.
That's right.
He has to have clean balls. But look what the spitters are going to do for you. All right? This is kind of what we do. This is our game. We're also love doctors, by the way, too. We know our shit.
Oh, yes.
We know what we're doing here, okay?
Oh, yes. There are two very happy ladies behind both of these great men that you are looking at on your screens today.
No question. No question. I'm telling you right now. They have no NDA, so they can talk all they want. They'll tell you.
Say anything.
They'll tell you like it is.
A little scary. It's a little scary to put out there. It's two Dominican women we talking about.
Facts. And we gonna keep it that real. That's how confident we are. But anyway, support for Designated Spittaz is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle, the Performance Package. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SPITTAZ at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that is about 8 million balls and a lot of happy ladies. I can tell you that also on top of that. So folks, women, also ladies, it's 2022. You got some ladies out there buying their men some stuff for V-Day.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're taking charge.
You know what I mean? They might be taking charge out there. Me, myself, you know, I try to spoil my lady on Valentine's Day. I think it's a man's thing to do. I think it's a man's duty.
I agree.
You know what I mean? For the men out there and the ladies out there, you might say, look, I just saw this show today, honey. I saw a show today. They had a special offer for Manscaped. 20% off, free shipping, using word SPITTAZ.
Listen.
Oh, I was going to go somewhere else with the whole spitters. Honey, with that being said, I'm just going to...
Get the spit.
Yeah, shoot. I'm telling you, about to have a good, best V-Day of your life.
Listen, man.
If you use that code right down there, all right?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something, all right? Don't let the MLB be the only ones out there with the juice balls, all right? Go get your man some ball deodorant. Juice them babies up. You know what I'm saying? Manfred ain't getting control of these balls, ladies.
I'm going to keep it real. I got to, look, our dudes at Manscaped told us, look, you guys use it. Let people know. Tell them the truth. Let them know about it. After a shower, you might not want to see this image, folks. That ball deodorant in my John, man. That ball deodorant in my shit. I'm telling you right now. I'm cool with it.
Man.
I can talk about anything. I don't care, fam.
Nah, yeah, I'm
I
straight.
ain't asking you guys to think about me scrubbing up my balls. You ain't got to think about that.
There's a reason I keep bringing up the ball deodorant, people. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Francis did it very smoothly. Me, I like running through a damn. I'm like the Kool-Aid dude jumping through the wall.
Oh yeah.
Balls.
But that's why y'all need to fuck with us. You know what I'm saying? We jumping through the wall for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Kool-Aid man was always there when y'all was thirsty. Stop playing games. Stop playing games.
So guys, again, right down there, man. Manscaped, 20% off, free shipping. Code word Spittaz. Make sure you guys get to that. HPITTAZ. That is it. Well, with that being said, let's talk about Chicago.
Yes,
got
sir.
some Chicago stuff to talk about. The Chicago Cubs are potentially, and you know, it's funny because a lot of these insiders are using a little possibly, potentially, all these little words that Anthony Rizzo, maybe there's, you know, maybe again, there's something there to go back to the Chicago Cubs.
Yep.
What do you think about that, Francis?
Yeah. Again, I'm gonna preface this with most of the same that I've prefaced a lot of these rumors that have come out in the last 3-4 weeks. The timing is really interesting because there's been no negotiations. There's been really no talks between players and agents and teams all this time. So for the timing of these rumors is just interesting because if it happened before the lockout, what took people so long to report it? But I want to walk that back a little bit because I was speaking with somebody who was telling me that what a lot of beat writers did was they got as much information they could those last couple of weeks leading up to the lockout because we were all expecting it, right?
Yeah. And
they got as much information as they could, and then they sat on it so that they could have something to put out throughout the lockout.
Makes sense.
So that has, that's a good point to me. It makes sense to me, and that has kind of made me put a little bit more credence into some of the things we're seeing that are coming out. This being one of them, right? Another reason why I think this is a possibility is because they said it's internal talks. The Cubs have had internal talks about bringing Anthony Rizzo back to be their first baseman in 2022 and beyond. And internal
now
talks.
The DH is back. I think that's huge.
Exactly.
I don't think enough people are talking about what that means for older players too.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't now. I would say it doesn't necessarily just mean that Anthony Rizzo could be coming back, but they could also be looking at one of his co-stars in Kyle Schwarber to make a return. Kyle Schwarber, it just got. I tell you one thing with the approval of the DH, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. So you know what? I'm just going to leave that for later. But yeah, Anthony Rizzo coming back to the Cubs. They've had internal talks about that. I think I could see it. If the Yankees do land one of their first two first base options, and this is obviously I say first two out of a guess. I'm assuming we don't know what their ranking is. I think at this point we can comfortably say their number one option would be Freeman. I do believe the reports that have come out about Freeman, and it just like we said last week.
Well, I told you guys that about a while back. Remember?
Yeah.
Like before the lockdown happened, I was told that. I messaged you guys. I was like, well, actually, I'm hearing that, that's actually pretty serious about Freeman. It's not like, remember, I think I even remember saying the exact words. It's actually not something that's like a potential. It's like they're for real.
No. Freeman. You said you I think you tweeted it out too. You're like, hey guys.
Yeah, I did.
There's a lot more.
Right before the lockdown actually happened.
Yeah, you said there's a lot more truth to this Freeman stuff.
I need Chris's picture right now.
Aware of. Exactly.
He said it. I said it first.
I said it first. But yeah. So if we're going off of that, and it's been months now that Freeman, the Yankees have been like, letting it be known that Freeman is their kind of first option for first base, and that would make sense. Now, if they aren't unable to land Freeman, then there's half the fan base and media who would say they would immediately pivot to Anthony Rizzo and re-sign him and bring him back because they feel like he'd be a great option. I also agree. I think he'd be a great option. There's some people who say they would then really revisit the Matt Olson trade. Yeah. Here's what I say: if Matt Olson, if I think Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman are linked in a very interesting way, and it affects Anthony Rizzo in a very interesting way, right? Freeman will either re-sign with the Braves or end up with a team like the Yankees. I do think the Dodgers will be players, but I also think the Dodgers will be a little bit unwilling to go where the Yankees would be willing to go because the Yankees are in a situation very unique to the Dodgers situation. Dodgers have a first baseman. Dodgers, can look other ways to spend their money now that the DH is coming to the NL.
Right.
Like where the Yankees, for instance, not only do we not have a guy like, yes, there's Luke Voit, but they made it clear this season they want to move away from Luke Voit. So aside from him, they don't have anybody like coming up in the ranks either. Like
none
our minor leagues pretty much bare in terms of like
first base.
Like first base is really, really like empty. You can make the
shortstop
at all.
You can make the dumb argument that Austin Wells is probably the best potential first baseman.
Exactly.
And he's a catcher because you got to believe he's going to move off of catcher at some point. It's going to be first or right field or left field.
So agree. Yeah. And I agree with you 100% there. So I feel like the Yankees, because of that, would be willing to go a little bit, further than the Dodgers when it came to a guy like Freddie Freeman. So I think he ends up in one of those two teams. It's still really hard for me to believe that the Braves are going to like really take that L, but it might not be an L because they also were, said to have been in contact with Oakland about what a deal for Matt Olson would look like. So if the Yankees did end up snatching away Freeman, they could end up turning around and going and grabbing Olson.
And they got the prospects for it. There's no doubt about that.
And they do have the farm to do that. So what does that all mean for Anthony Rizzo? Well, it means that Anthony Rizzo is going to be, he's not some, last chick at the dance without a dance partner.
People talk about him like that now, which kind of sucks, man.
Yeah. But here's the interesting thing, right? Pre-lockout, people were really hammering that in like, well, like Rizzo's going to be there. He's going to be there. He's going to be there. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not a guarantee at this point. Rizzo has the potential with teams like the Cubs, who he has obviously extreme familiarity with, having internal discussions about bringing him back. The Cubs aren't playing for Freddie Freeman. The Cubs aren't playing for a Matt Olson trade. If they're having internal discussions about Anthony Rizzo at first base, he could be their priority, meaning they're not going to wait for those other two guys to decide what they're going to do. They could just go right after Rizzo.
What about the Red Sox too?
The Red Sox are another.
The Red Sox wanted him. He's a perfect fit for them. He's a perfect fit for them.
And he would be. So you gotta start, just being a little bit more honest with yourself, especially if you're a team like the Yankees. Like, look, whatever we do at this position, we need to figure out what it's going to be quickly. Because if you wait around for Freddie Freeman and he decides I'm going back to Atlanta, and you're like, well, we could pivot to Rizzo, and Rizzo's like, oh yeah, I signed back with the Cubs. And it's like, oh, well, let's go for Matt Olson. Oh, we're actually trading Matt Olson elsewhere. We got a better package. You guys are taking too long.
I was going to say that too. I was going to say, I was just going to say that is, look, if you know anything about prospects, if there's teams like the Braves out there, look, the Braves got a pretty packed outfield. They could get rid of Drew Waters, and anybody's going to want Drew Waters, who's one of the top prospects in baseball. If they could trade Drew Waters alone, plus maybe two other guys, if the Yankees aren't offering Volpe or Peraza, forget it. They got no shot.
Yep.
So I'm just saying there's other teams out there like the Braves who just won a World Series. Imagine just winning the World Series and be like, our man's gone. We love Freddie, but we bringing you Matt Olson. You know what I mean? We bringing you Olson. We bringing you this. We bringing you that. Maybe we add a starting pitcher too. I don't think Braves fans are too upset. I don't think people. Hey, look, every fan forgets pretty quickly.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, no, it'd be. I mean, I keep saying like for them to let Freeman walk, it's kind of a gut punch to the fan base. But if you counter that move with trading for a Matt Olson, I mean, what kind of gut punch are we talking? What kind of gut punch are we talking about? Hey, you saw Freddie for a good couple of years. He won you a ring, an MVP. Like, I think you gotta eat that one, man, because now you got the future like a year later. So yeah, I think it's an interesting story. I definitely, I would say as a fan, don't write it off. I could see the Cubs doing it. The Cubs do have to pay somebody some kind of money. They don't have a complete team right, as things stand. Unless they're going to just go into the mode of like the Pittsburgh Pirates or something like that, they will still want to be somewhat competitive. And a guy like Rizzo 100% helps you do that. He also helps you endear yourself to the fans throughout a rebuilding process, right? Like,
correct.
It's clear that they're going into a rebuild, but you don't want to like completely alienate yourselves from this fan base who had to wait 108 years for a world championship, right? Signing a guy like Rizzo is a pretty nice way to like smooth over that process. So I definitely think it's a possibility. That's what I will say. Definitely think it's a possibility. And if you're a team who has Rizzo on your list, you better watch that market closely once the lockout ends, because it could move a lot quicker than you thought it was before.
I agree. Definitely, I agree with you. The whole thing with Rizzo, everything you said, I don't think that's something that you can kind of just say, well, he's a third wheel here of these guys, and he'll be there. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, because the one thing you got to remember, too, everybody, I think, is agreeing on this. Whenever baseball says, we're back, it's going to be go, 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 go.
Flurry.
And you're going to see our faces, I think, almost daily on live chats. Because I'm telling you guys, whatever pops off, boom, we live, boom, we live, boom, we live. And I got a feeling it's going to be a lot. I got a feeling it's going to, it has to be. Let's be real here. It has to be. Unless we go deep into a lockout and I'm talking about March, April, May, it's going to be, start, race, go. And everybody jump into where they were, what they're doing. And I think you're going to see a lot of chips fall off the board pretty quickly. But transitioning.
The last point I want to make on this before we go, like with everything happening with the lockout, which I think is what we're transitioning to anyway, right?
No, we're transitioning over to the other Chicago club.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yeah, thank God we didn't forget that. The last thing I want to say on this is, like, look, with all this taking as long as it is, you got to start to think about the possibility of, players like Chris Bryant or players like Carlos Correa, especially Correa, who's looking for a much larger contract, maybe having to start the season without a team, because whenever they do come to an agreement, the ramp up time might be really short. The turnaround might be really short before teams are actually beginning to play games. And it might not be long enough for guys like that to negotiate the deals that they want. Now, you might have a guy like Chris Bryant who might say, look, I'll concede on some things because I really just want to get with the team right away. I don't see Carlos Correa doing that. I see Carlos Correa as a guy who's going to hold out until he gets every last dollar he wants. And that could mean starting with a team a month after the season has started, which has become a possibility because of the lockout. So
very real possibility. But switching over to the other Chicago team that is out there, and of course that is the Chicago White Sox. Now, the White Sox have put a policy in place where Major League Baseball is not requiring this. So FY to anybody, this is a team-based decision. I actually reached out to somebody who knows Jerry Reinsdorf pretty well. And, they said, maybe it's a team thing. I don't know if it's something they all agreed to, but I'm not too sure if Jerry is that guy pushing this. Of course, Jerry Reinsdorf, everybody who don't know, is the owner of the Chicago White Sox. But they're requiring that their minor league ball players get a COVID-19 booster shot. Unless they don't play. Unless they don't get a chance to play the profession that they're professional at. And they've worked their whole lives to get to. Francis, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here, so I don't know if you want to start or you would like me to go.
I'll just say one thing. This confuses me because it's not being mandated by the league, right? So I will say that it's interesting because it's like, why make a move like this if you didn't absolutely have to, right? Because you know how polarizing this is. You know how much it can alienate people from one side or the other. Why make a move on something like this unless you absolutely had to, which you absolutely did not, because the league did not require you to do that, right? It's like, it's just really interesting. Like, it's like what I said, what's going on with New York State. Like, New York State, it's like, oh, we'll lift the mask mandate, but then New York City was like, no. And it's just like, well, like, the state said they were going to, like, why can't you just, oh, we're more densely populated or whatever. But it's like, yeah, but like, you didn't have to. Like, you could have let it be like a personal choice thing or whatever, and you said, no, like, we're gonna do this anyway because we're or whatever. It's like this move by the White Sox seems reminiscent of that, and it's like it just leaves me scratching my head as to why make this move if you didn't have to.
Yeah,
and maybe you have a different thought on it. Maybe you know why they made the move. I've researched it a little. I can't see why they did it. I don't understand it.
I have no idea why they made the move, but I'm gonna ask you a question real quick. The minor league players, what do you think their age range is?
Minor leaguers' age ranges normally. Let's start with the younger guys who can come into camp from 16, 17 when you're international. Yep. And ranges to about 22, 23, 24. There's a couple older guys in there sprinkled in.
So let's say there's a couple. Let's say everybody's under 49. We agree with that, right?
Yes, for sure.
All right, so 10 to 19 years old, your chance of dying from COVID, and this is from the CDC, everybody, 0.00032%. And
Can you read that again? I think it's a good number. People like numbers, Pete. I think we should.
10 to 19 years old, your chance of dying of COVID is 0.00032. This is from the CDC. This is not. I'm not throwing a number to bullshit.
These are not Simonetti numbers.
No, this is exactly what it is. 20 to 49 years old. 20 to 49 years old. 0.0092. I'm going to say something now, too, that might offend people. And it shouldn't. I could say it. You know why? I was a fat ass for years. Okay? Your boy was over 300 pounds. I got every right to say this. 70+% of deaths were from people that were obese. Underlying health conditions. All that not good stuff. All that stuff there is where a lot of these numbers come from. Here's my problem with a lot of these people pushing these mandates, especially on younger, healthy people. That's my problem. These kids are professional athletes. Now, is there some of them that might have a heart condition? Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
It's been over 2 years since this pandemic started. They understand that. At this point, they have either got vaccinated, they believe in I'll take boosters, or they may have had COVID and go, hey, look, I'm okay. The CDC also came out, Dr. Fauci, also, booster shots are only lasting you 4 months. They're ineffective. 4 months of what they believe is strong enough to prevent you from getting sick or dying from this. What percentage
which
more
is interesting,
do you need?
Which is interesting, Pete.
To increase this number.
Which is interesting that you say 4 months, right? Because how long is the season?
There you go.
It's long. It's a lot
longer than 4 months.
It's a lot longer than 4 months.
Especially if let's say they started in February. It's even longer then.
It's exactly. So that's why that number is really interesting. And I wanted to highlight that for those of you listening who say, well, at least it will add them some added protection for the season. That's not necessarily true, because if Dr. Fauci is saying that they're only effective for that time period and the season's longer than that, then it begs the question.
You'll need another one.
Will you be requiring another one
every 4 months
to cover the entire season? Is that what we're going to? Just come out and say where you're going.
Here's the crazy thing about the whole thing. I've said this from the jump, and I'm happy there's a few governors out there who actually ran their states this way. And this is for everything in life. That's the other crazy thing about this. You're more likely to die of the flu if you're obese or you have an underlying health condition. That's normal everyday life. The number one leading death cause in this country is, I think, it's obesity with heart disease, things like that.
Heart disease,
falls off that. Folks, I'm not saying nothing wrong here. I was 300 plus pounds. You don't believe me? I'll show you pictures. I was not happy then. I was not comfortable then. You can lose weight. You can do it. You can get in shape. You don't even got to be the skinniest dude. You don't got to be, you might have been 280. You might be better off at 230, 220. It's better for you. It's better for you to have a healthy lifestyle. However you see that, it's better for you. Whatever it is you got to change, do it. Try to get yourself as healthy as possible. Yes, there are some people that can't. There's some people that have things against them that it prevents them from maybe getting as healthy as they want to be. Whatever that might be, but try. Whatever you can do, try. You got one body. Try to take care of it. When it comes to the whole COVID thing, I've said it for the longest time. Like I said it before, I'm repeating it. Some governors listened. Protect the most vulnerable. Let the young people live. Take masks off of children's faces all day. 8+ hours, they got a mask over their nose and their mouth. For what reason? They have no chance. They got a better chance of going in a pickup loop at school and getting hit by a vehicle. Let's be real here. Nobody's protecting them from that. You're not putting bubble wrap around them. I love my children all day. I understand if people say, I want to do as much as I can. Then go do it. You want to wear a mask? Wear a mask. Go do it.
That's also
I've
where
never
I
seen
fall.
somebody who refuses, says, I'm not going to do none of that. I've never seen a video of them going around saying, take the mask off. Take it off.
Yeah.
But I've seen the other way around. And it's psychotic. It's crazy. Guys, I think the majority of this country is sick and the majority of the world. All you got to do is pull up Twitter. You got a trucker convention that's blocking everything. You got Paris now and France and Australia. Hundreds of thousands of people saying enough. We're tired of this. Enough. Don't we have 2 years of learning and understanding? We got tools. We got therapeutics. We got monoclonal antibodies that people took away. Who the hell knows why? I don't want to talk about it, but They took those away when it was healing everybody. So, however you want to see it, all I'm saying here is Chicago White Sox. These players have busted their ass their whole life to be here, to also help your organization out. They've done it. Ease up. Time is done. I just think people around the world everywhere are tired of it. Enough is enough.
Yeah. Here's my I guess my final point in the whole thing. If there were numbers to support that getting the booster did result in lower, but significantly lower, because I do realize it's lower. But I mean, if it resulted in significantly lowers in amounts of transmission of the virus, meaning that having your team fully vaxxed and boosted meant that your chances of contracting the virus were significantly lower and your chances of passing the virus around was significantly lower, then I could understand this more, because I would see it from a business perspective as I don't need to have these guys missing games. I don't need to have games canceled. I don't need to have guys, passing around the locker room and then who knows for how many weeks we got to deal with it. I can understand that. Here is the caveat. That's just not the case. It's just not the case.
No, it's not.
People who are vaccinated and boosted are still getting the virus and transmitting the virus.
Right.
So what does that mean? It means that you can get your whole team boosted and they could play another team like every other team in the minor leagues who currently does not have this mandate, and they could contract the virus there, pass it to other fully vaxxed and boosted players, and the same thing can happen. Now, you could say, yeah, but it helps. Okay. If that little bit moves the needle for you, then okay, I guess for you, that makes sense. But to mandate it on the entire team, again, to close the loop, bring myself back to my first point that I made on this whole thing. I don't understand why you had to do it, because you didn't absolutely have to. And that's why I'm confused.
I agree on that. And for
there wasn't a gun to your head.
For my last point of all this, and then we'll move on to our next topic, is people, a lot of people do say exactly like what you just said too, and you're right in the sense of that. But my rebuttal, not to what you said really, my rebuttal to people that will sit there and go, but we're doing this for preventive measures. We're doing this. Guys, I got a question for you. It's been 2 years. How is it worse this year with all the measures that we have in place? How is New York masked forever? How is California masked forever? But their numbers are through the roof. We have therapeutics. We have vaccines, boosters through the damn roof. Everybody every 2 weeks. But numbers are still the most they ever been. So maybe here's the thing. Here's the reality of it. COVID's not going away.
No.
It's going to be here. It's not going away. Guess what's going to happen, though? It's going to get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker.
Yes,
and God rest all the people that passed. Nobody is pushing that to this. Like, God, I feel bad for anybody who loses anyone. We started the show with Gerald Williams.
Listen.
That's cancer. That's a terrible thing. COVID is a terrible thing. It's horrible how it happened. It's horrible the lives that we lost. There you go.
I lost my grandfather to COVID. So when you hear me speak,
it's horrible.
Don't ever think, oh, this guy's speaking. He's one of those people that speaks who never had it touch him. No, it touched me in a very profound way.
There you go.
But I agree with everything that you're saying right now. Like, even though it touched me that way, it will get weaker.
And that's the thing, man. That's the thing that when I see things like this and like, oh, we're gonna do a new man, but we're doing the same things we've done since the jump. Not much has changed since then. You could say, oh, a booster, okay, but even with the boosters when they first came out, everybody started getting boosters. We still had the worst year that we've had in COVID. We have the most deaths. We have the most infected rates everywhere. Really everywhere.
Yeah.
I think every state broke their record. So
yeah, no, it was
I'm just saying. I mean, this has nothing.
Not to
another
mention,
thing too. This has nothing to do with politics. Cut the politics shit. It has nothing to do with politics. Stop this nonsense. You don't wear a mask. You're this. You're that. No. I know a lot of friends of mine that are very liberal that tell me every day, I'm not doing another damn shot. I'm tired of it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Again, look at the liberals out there that are completely against it. Bill Maher, who is just sitting back saying, I'm the biggest liberal in the world. Enough is enough. I'm done. I'm tired of this. It's ridiculous at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that's all I'm saying. Even I'll say somebody on the right side of things. There's people on the right side of things that feel like you should still wear a mask. So stop making everything about politics. Look at the actual fact. Look at your experience for 2 years. Not much has changed, folks. That's all I'm saying.
listen, I'll tell you, and but as we were speaking, like I thought about it again. It's like, look, to further like help you guys understand like where my point of view comes from. Look, I lost my grandfather in the first year of COVID, right? My grandfather was actually like tip top health. He was older. He was an 80-something-year-old man, but he was like, he had all of his health stuff in check. And literally from one day to the next, he got COVID and died. Like as soon as we found out he got it, he died. One day. In the second year of COVID, I lost my godfather, who did have some underlying conditions, but was a lot younger than my grandfather was, right? I say that to say, I'm not speaking and trying to be insensitive. Right, and I don't think Pete is speaking and trying to be insensitive. If I felt like he was being insensitive or I was being insensitive, like trust me, like we would speak out, because I was like, I had this touch me in a very profound way twice. But I'm telling you guys, like, look, man, it's just there's certain things at this point that it's getting really, really ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. And it's like at one point, I'm left to ask, like, at what point do you people draw the line? At what point or will there never just be a line? Is it to the point where like we're gonna like it's possible that 20 years down the line and kids are still wearing masks in school?
No, I don't think so. You know, a shout out, by the way, and again, for the people who, you know, pinpoint me to one side, you can go ahead and do that. But I'm gonna shout out a couple of truly blue states for ending their mandates. Good job, New Jersey. Good job, Delaware. They ended it. They said, all right, yeah, us too, enough. You know, New York did it. But the funny thing is the city said indoors you could take the mask off, but not schools, not you children. The mayor, yeah, not the kids. Kids can't do it. So that just, you know.
Yeah, I love that choice, don't you?
And there's a whole rabbit hole we can go down to about what effects this may have on children down the line and things of that nature. I remember.
Yeah, don't like to shout out. I don't like to shout out. School right now, struggling because of this shit.
And I'm gonna tell you, keep it real. I don't like to shout out a lot of other podcasters. I don't want to give them nothing on here. But Joe McFlies from John Boy asked that simple question, and cats were attacking him for it. And he asked a legitimate question of what health conditions could this lead for children down the line? What are we doing that hurting them down the line in the future? That's all he said. Dude didn't say nothing wrong. Got attacked for it because, you know, just like the Bauer shit, you can't bring up anything like that because now you're a bad person. You're an anti this, you're this, you're
because
that.
You go against, you go against the common public narrative, and you are public enemy number one.
Well,
but you know what? Shout out, like you said,
do it no matter what.
Shout out to Joe for speaking his mind and being himself. I implore you to continue doing that, bro. But like Pete just said, DS, we ain't never doing that shit.
Nope.
We ain't never doing that shit.
No matter what.
And we don't care. Look, there's some of you who are gonna listen to what we just said and disagree with the whole thing. And you know what? I will fight tooth and nail for your right. For your right to disagree with me.
I just gotta. This man said, I'll fight.
Yeah, listen.
This man about to call you out to the damn alleyway. You're in the back room,
bro. I'm telling you, shit. I will fight tooth and nail for your freedom and your right to the ability to disagree with whatever the fuck me and Pete say.
No doubt about that. You
are well within your right to do so.
Right in the world.
And we are not going to attack you for disagreeing with one of our opinions, because you're dealing with two guys who actually know how to disagree with people and have debates. So feel free to disagree with us in the comments. I welcome it.
Yeah, 150%. And speaking of, great segue. Speaking of disagreements, there's a big one right now going on with the Players Union. As my picture didn't come up there, but anyway, the whole Players Union. Francis, I need you to go over some of this. There's a new proposal from Major League Baseball. If you could go over some of that, then we'll discuss it.
Yeah. All right. I'm taking this from the most credible article that's out right now, which is from ESPN.com.
So that's the source. ESPN, folks.
It's not by Passan, who I think was taking a day off today, but Jesse Rogers took care of this, covering this. There's not too much out on it yet because it's an 130-page proposal. Who the Players Union themselves have yet to go through the entire thing. That's what has been reported since the meeting ended a few hours ago, that the players will, review it fully. But some of the things that stuck out were the language around the collective bargaining threshold, which is the tax, right? The luxury tax threshold, right? Initially, the players were upset that the league only wanted to raise it to $214 million. And then in a couple years, I think it maxed out at like 216, 218 or something like that. So in this proposal, the owners did raise it a few years down the line, but it will still be at, in this proposal, the luxury tax threshold would stay at 214, not stay, but increase to 214 for next year, stay at 214 the following year. Then it will go up 2 million to 216, then another 2 million to 218, and before finally going up to 222 million, I think about 6 years from now.
Yes.
So is it more, right? I'll stop there because there's a couple of other things, but I don't want us to have to like respond to all of it at once. Is that an increase, right? Me and people were discussing this in our chat beforehand. Like he's like, it is an increase, right? Yeah. I agree. I mean, that's a fact. It's an increase. They're moving. And it's progress in a sense because they are moving where they hadn't before.
Right.
My first response to it was, though, it's like I feel like it wasn't enough to at least have the players say, let's stay at this table.
Correct.
And like, let's stay at the table and let's see if we can really like at least lock down this one part of it.
Correct.
Because I think the players and a lot of
and that's a big part. Alike, that's a really big part, by the way.
Thing. Well, that's one of the biggest things, right? They say core economics is the biggest thing on the table, and one of the biggest parts of the core economics is the luxury tax, the threshold, and the penalties. Now, what I do want to add to it, before like asking you what your opinion on the whole thing is, they took away the draft pick, losing the draft pick for exceeding the first threshold. Good. Which I do really like. Good. That I really like. Good. And I think the players should have been grateful for that. I haven't heard anybody. Sorry about that. That was my alarm.
That was Rob Manfred saying, "Shut the fuck up."
They were like, "Shut your ass up, Francis. I'm coming for you. We can't fire you like we did Rosenthal. We can do something to you.
We're canceled. That's it."
But so they took away losing your first draft pick, losing your draft pick for exceeding the first threshold, which I think is a good thing. But I do feel like the threshold is still a little bit too low. What do you think?
Yes, I agree. And it's like what I said to you in the chat. I said, well, at the end of the day, there's a negotiation now. Mm-hmm. Anybody could sit there and say it's not what they want. Of course. I mean, 100% I agree with that. I mean, Major League Baseball could have came back and said, okay, look, guys, how about we immediately jump to 216? Then we end at 224. Mm-hmm. How does that sound? So that's only 2 million more. But most people would see that and go, that's better. But the 214, 214, it was 214 previously, 214, 214, 216, 218, 222. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of people come out and just go, why don't they just say 230? They're not going to. You know what I mean?
You got to negotiate to there.
Here's the thing, and this is why I said it's good. And I think before we went live, we said this. Maybe we did in the intro, I don't know. How quickly do they come back to the table? That is the thing you got to see. Because look, if that
wasn't on the air.
No, that wasn't on the air, right? So we mentioned that. We said, how quickly now will they come back? That is key to this whole thing. Mm-hmm. Because if now the players union says 214, they're at 214, 214. That doesn't change, but then they are increasing. Would you guys be comfortable if they go 214 or even 216, 216, 218, 220? Would that move the dial? See, the thing about a negotiation is you don't really know unless it's been told multiple times what that number really is. And what that number, maybe the other side will say, okay, we'll fish with that. Okay, you know what? Can we go to 220? And they go, what are we stuck between, 218 and 220? Mm-hmm. It's compromised, 219. Deal. Mm-hmm. And Major League Baseball's like, victory!
Yeah, that would be huge.
Because, guys, I'm going to give you all a spoiler alert.
Huge.
I'm going to give you guys a spoiler alert. Major League Baseball will win. The owners will win. Ozzie said it. He was in one already. They're going to win. Does that mean the players should crawl up in a ball and accept anything? No. The players should fight tooth and nail, get as much as they can until they know, well, guys, do we lock arms here and lose games? Do we lock arms here and say, look how serious we are and cause damage to the game? Same thing with the owners. I'm not blaming the one side. Or do they say, we really have got enough? Let's see one more time if they are willing to go any further and make an agreement. So I'm not saying that the players necessarily are an issue. I'm not taking a side. I think you guys know I think they both suck. I'm sick of it all. I want baseball to be back. That's my opinion of it. I just want baseball. I'm tired of the owners, the play. I don't give a poop. Just let one of these guys, let something happen. So my thing is, the owners are gonna win. That's not me saying there's a surrender sign and the players should give up. But at the end of the day, they're gonna have to make an agreement. It's that simple, in my opinion.
Let's be honest with one thing here, right? While I will say, out of the two groups, I am more pro player,
right,
in the argument. I am not 100% on the player's side, and I will tell you why now. I told Chris in the chat this week, I'm more of a guy who believes that the culpability should be split in about a 65-35% swing. I put about 65 on the owners, and I put about 35% on the players. Most of you hear that and say that is way too much blame to the players.
Correct.
Let me tell you why. The reason that the owners will win this negotiation has nothing to do with this negotiation.
Yep.
The reason that the owners will win this negotiation is because they won this negotiation with the last two negotiations.
Yep.
What do I mean by that? What I mean is that the chasm between these two sides is so far because of the previous two negotiations. Had the players nutted up years ago and not allowed for these severe penalties on the luxury tax and the number to be set almost like so low and things like that or whatever previously, these negotiations wouldn't be taking so long today, right? You can't come now in 2022 and just say, well, now we want the reparations. We want it all back, and we want it all back right now. That is not how a negotiation works.
That's right.
And thus why you will not get every single concession from the owners that you're asking for. And in the end, they will still come out in many ways winning.
That's
because they won it
just get your
a
best deal.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean? Does that mean you just give up all hope or whatever? Absolutely not.
No, not at all.
Don't think that Francis is saying you just give it up, because I still put 65% of this on the owners. Is because these guys are billionaires. A lot of them are cheap. A lot of them are tanking with their teams. A lot of them are not spending on making their teams better. A lot of them do not care about how competitive the product that they put on the field is. Do not get me started, because that's why I put most of it on them. But I will not sit here and allow people to say it's all on the owners and these poor players. They got to deal with these guys. Like, the poor players, nothing. Poor players, nothing. You put yourself in this situation over time. Now the gap has grown so fucking big, and you think that you're going to be able to cover that in one CBA negotiation. I got a bridge to sell you if that's what you think is about to happen. That shit is not happening. It's not going to take one negotiation. But if you are diligent in these negotiations and you are firm, right, and smart, you got to be intelligent. Because I say this because it's going to take a high amount of intellect to know where to concede as a player, because you will have to make concessions if a deal is going to get done. You're not going to get everything that you're asking for. And I think they know, some players at least know that going in. Getting everything you're asking for was always a dream. It was always a fantasy, and it was never going to happen. But you have to be smart about where you allow your concessions to be made. Make concessions on things that you're comfortable developing a coherent plan for the next CBA negotiation. And do yourselves a favor, start planning as soon as this one is ratified. Start planning for the next negotiation now. That's right. There's no reason that you guys have to do all these meetings just to get on the same page before you can send a proposal to each other. That just shows that you guys you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing throughout the duration of these deals.
Yeah, definitely.
The fact that both sides took so long to come to the table, we spoke about this off the air.
Yeah.
The fact that they took so long to come to the table after December 2nd, I mean, most people put that on the owners, but like I was telling you off the air, we didn't see Tony Clark coming out and saying, hey, I'm trying to call Manfred. He ain't calling me back.
Fam, to this day, where's Tony Clark?
I mean, I would imagine he's been with the players in Arizona with their meetings, but we haven't seen him.
But
we haven't heard anything.
Yeah, that's my thing right there. Look, I get the hate on Manfred. I can't stand. I think the guy's a horrible commissioner. Simple as that. I think he's ruining the game. I think what he is, he just reminds you of like a really good lawyer. that the owners having like, hey buddy, make us money. Figure out a way to make us money. But then it's like you're talking about, what changes in baseball. Like, what are you doing? Like, no, stop. But there's always the anger and the angst towards him, and it's like target. Like
he's really the one.
Tony Clark been a damn trash can. I'm gonna keep it real. What is Tony Clark? Where's Tony Clark at? People go,
because he reps the players.
Exactly, but we said awful. Look, if you care about the players, care about who's representing them. Why is Max Scherzer talking more than him? Why do we see Aaron Judge come out of meeting talking? Why are we seeing Garrett Cole making statements? Where's
Lindor?
Lindor? Where's your representation at? You're the guy in charge. Step up. Say, look, we sent these dudes emails during this time. We didn't know it was going to go in the second week of January. We thought once January 1st that we had a meeting ready to go. We didn't expect to wait this long. He kept shut. So people want to go, their owners didn't care. Did the players?
Did they go reach? And that's what I'm saying. It's like, yes, it took 5-6 weeks to come back to the table, but can somebody show me proof that the players were trying to get back to the table earlier? Because as of right now, unless you could show me that proof, then the fact that they didn't talk for 6 weeks is on both of them.
Bro, I would have been the biggest pain in the ass in Major League Baseball side right now if I was Tony Clark. I'd have been on Fox. I'd been on CNN. I'd been on MSNBC. I'd been on Fox Business. I'd been on everything. Everything.
Yeah, that's honestly,
coming out there. My face would be known everywhere. At this point.
But that's what to an extent, that is what it's going to take. To an extent. Like,
unfortunately, we're saying that in February.
Yeah, you're not gonna beat these billionaires by kind of like playing right into their hands. I mean, and that's really how it's been up until this point. I got news for you people, right? When and if I would say if and when we do in fact begin missing games, you are looking at a group of owners who are completely comfortable with that, and will not lose very much sleep on that. Now, is that a reason for you guys to like have more of a reason to hate them and say whatever? I'm not saying it for that. I'm saying it so that you are aware of the sense of urgency that the player side needs to have.
Correct.
Because the owners aren't going to have it.
No.
They're billionaires and they got it. And they got it for a reason. They know how to negotiate. They're businessmen. They know what they're doing. They got their shit tight. They lose money,
they can sell their team.
It's very the players are in a very different situation, and having them come out and talk about how they're in solidarity and whatever. It's like, and the stupid reporter is asking, what's the morale in the player? Are you guys all in unison? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
who gives a fuck? Like at this point, so I don't want the solidarity is not. I don't care if they're in solidarity. What I do care about is there a sense of urgency in the room on the player side right now? Why isn't any of you asking that? Can somebody ask one of these players who are in front of the camera smiling and whatever? Ask them, hey, Francisco Lindor, is there a sense of urgency on the player side right now? Are you guys like really pushing to get this deal done, with the timeline in mind? Or are you guys okay with the way things have moved right now? And I would have the same question posed to Manfred, because Manfred was asked the question, and he's always asked the question. And I know it's become commonplace to kill him, but it's like, it's not fair that he's the only one being asked that question when the players could be asked the same thing.
I said this
before, too. Do you guys have
a
sense of urgency?
I said this before, too, before it went online. One of the things that I actually liked that Manfred said before was there is, 2 phone calls that can be made here. They can call, too. It's not just us.
He said there's two sides. He did.
And he is not wrong about that. So this is why I'm talking about with Tony Clark and these other guys. And like you said, I've seen so many players. Yeah, but if you guys were so serious, why did you wait 2 months? Why did you? Why did Tony Clark? I don't know if I did.
You guys
Francis,
could have
did we miss something? Did we miss a report?
What I'm saying.
An email that came out that he was begging for a meeting? I didn't remember.
If we did, please somebody send it to me, or somebody.
Please, I'll be happy to correct it
show
next
the
time
proof.
we're on.
Show the proof, and I'll walk it right back. But what I'm saying is, right now we can't operate. saying that it was just all them. No, this is both sides. To move on, there wasn't much. Oh, my bad. What was you gonna say?
No, you're good. I was actually going to add something else that I just saw from Evan Drellich of the Athletic. He said that MLB today presented MLBPA, the Players Association, with a calendar to start the regular season on time when a deal must be done. So that, however you see that being interesting or not, we don't know what that number is yet, but I'm pretty sure that's probably going to leak or come out on the exact day. I think we kind of put 2 and 2 together on when that would be, but I think that's a good play by Major League Baseball. That's a good play by Major League Baseball.
Well, they need to have plans and contingency plans at this point, like because if you're going to start on time, then it's obviously going to be a rearranged pitchers and catchers and a rearranged spring training. Um, as if this goes another week or two, like it drastically changes everything.
Oh, big
I
time.
think
We're screwed.
after this week, you go another week without a deal. Opening day is officially off the table.
Yeah,
There's just no way to get
the
the
Monday the 21st, and there's not
yeah.
like a hint of like we are really close to we'll nail this out by the end of the week, then it's okay. But if Monday
and
comes,
even
still, it's tough. But if Monday comes and we're like, we know a couple of things. Yeah, come on, man.
It's gonna be real tough because
and it's a horrible thing for baseball.
The pitchers need about three, unless they're gonna just forego it, which again presents a myriad of different issues in terms of like injuries and readiness for the season. Yep. But the pitchers are going to need their 3 weeks to ramp up before you can get the first pitch thrown of spring training. Spring training, which itself is 4 weeks plus at this point. So if you're looking at a situation where it's like, well, we'll cut down spring training by a week, we'll do 3 weeks of spring training. The pitchers still need their 3 weeks. You can't concede time for a pitcher to get his arm ready to throw 100-mile-an-hour fastballs and move and breaking stuff. So that would still mean 6 weeks to get a season under works. And like if it's not done by February 21st, your 6 weeks is not going to get you before March 31st. So another thing, one thing that I did want to mention, right? So that it comes out clear. When you take away the loss of the draft pick from that first threshold, what that basically means for a team like the Yankees, right? Because a lot of our listeners are Yankee fans, is that the Yankees could feel very comfortable exceeding that first threshold and having a payroll that floats around 230 plus million. Why? Because the next threshold, the next penalty isn't until 234 million.
Correct.
Meaning that they could blow through that first level, not worry about losing a pick on the draft tier or international, and just have to pay that first fine, which would be the lowest fine possible because they were under the threshold in 2021. Right. So that would mean that even if it was ratified as it stands today, which it probably won't, by the time it does get ratified, that it'll probably be a number that's even better than this. The Yankees should be poised to spend to raise that payroll to about $230+ million, which means, again, do not let them off the hook when it comes to spending. That's what I wanted to say there. For minimum salary, the only thing that changed there was they bumped up the final year for the what's it called? Straight salaries, not but the straight salaries from 700,000 right to 725.
Yes.
So they added up there. They also offered a new option, which is a straight minimum of 630,000 in the first year of the deal, with the ability for teams to give raises as they see fit, as they have done in the past, right? In years 2 and 3 before the players hit arbitration. So this is for pre-arbitration eligible players. That also means that players can be renewed for smaller raises during those years. So that is a concession. It's small, I get it, but
it's something.
It's something.
It's moving down the line a little bit. So the MLB players, at the end of the day, at least they know, at least it's better than it was today. You know what I mean? It's better than it was yesterday. It's better than it was this morning. There is a little bit of movement.
The league also increased the pre-arbitration bonus pool. They were stuck on their offer at 10 million.
They bumped that.
And they bumped that up to 15 million while offering a 6-person panel, 3 from each side, that will develop a mutually agreeable WAR statistic to allocate the funds.
I hate that though. I don't like that. I really
think you gotta watch. I really think you gotta watch what happens with that.
Yeah.
I really think you gotta watch what happens with that.
I just hate taking the one stat. I mean, look, because if you're not a defensive player, WAR sucks for you.
Yeah, I mean,
are you gonna adjust WAR?
If you're not defensive, to have a good WAR and be bad defensively, like your offense has to be really
terrific.
Elite. So
terrific. So
I just, again, like I feel like this is something to really watch because that could
maybe that feels like maybe they're we always I almost feel like I sound hypocritical here because I always talk about being complete players and we need more complete players. If you are complete, your WAR should be fine. So no, I'm not walking it back. I think maybe there's better ways to see it, but maybe that'll work when it comes to being a complete player.
There is the union asks for an $100 million bonus pool, which is down from the previous offer of 105. So again, the union who has been negotiating front for the most part. The players union have been really the only ones kind of moving their numbers incrementally. This is the first time that the Major League Baseball owners have made some moves on their positions.
Right, right.
Service time manipulation is something that's been running rampant in the league for a while now. We know the famous case is Chris Bryant with the Cubs.
Yep.
So the league increased the incentive for teams to keep their best prospects in the majors, offering them 2 draft picks within the player's first 3 years if the player finishes top 3 in the Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, or MVP voting.
See, I like that.
That is huge.
I like that a lot.
That is huge because you know what that tells you? Let me tell you, that tells you a guy like Miguel Andujar, right? Who a lot of you today, shit on yesterday's newspaper. A guy like Miguel Andujar would have got a nice little raise after his rookie year because he finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting that year to Shohei Ohtani. So it's interesting, right? A guy like Chris Bryant, right, would have got and I'm saying this in a sense where he would have gotten paid, but also he would have paid. I meant to say he would have paid a dividend to the Yankees because of his first season. The Yankees would have gotten an extra draft pick.
Yeah, that's right.
Because of his first season that year.
How he produced.
A guy like Chris Bryant would have gotten the Cubs 2 draft picks in his first 2 years because he won Rookie of the Year and the MVP.
Yep.
So he would have gotten them a draft pick in each of those years.
So that's awesome.
That's a really nice.
See, because at
nice
first when you were saying it, I was like, I remember we talked about that, how that would work. I love the idea that, because what you would think is, well, maybe some teams would just call these damn guys up just for the hell of it because they're getting stuff.
Exactly.
But they got to actually produce. They actually got to be ready to actually
and they have to stay up the whole
because
year,
it gives
which is
the
interesting.
team the incentive to say, yeah, this guy's definitely better than what we have now. Let's get him up now and see what maybe he is one of these guys that get us a draft pick. So let's try it. Let's go with it.
The interesting thing also with that is that for you to get the draft pick, they need to stay up. Yeah. So that will stop teams from sending them back down to manipulate that service time.
The Yankees.
And say
Yankees.
You know so it's you're going to have, if you want those draft picks, Brian, you're going to have to keep homie up.
My man Luis Hill had a 0 ERA and they said, all right, we'll see you, fam.
Vete para AAA. Quédate ahí. Pre-draft, what's it called? They added a rule, which people are going to say to call it the Kumar Rocker rule, about a pre-draft physical, right? After the former Mets draft pick wasn't allowed to sign with the team due to health concerns. Right. Under the league's new proposal, players can submit a pre-draft physical, and if a team selects them, it is required to pay the player at least 75% of slot value, and he can't be failed by the team in a post-draft physical. Why is that huge? It's because Kumar Rocker is not the first player to have this happen.
Right.
And it's going to push teams and owners especially from deciding against keeping them because you're going to have to pay 75. You're going to have to pay 75% of that money anyway. Yep. So that's a really nice rule, and I think a nice concession on the owner's side. It's small in regards to other things, but it's something. Draft and follow. The league is offering to reinstitute a policy that used to exist where teams draft a player who may not be ready for professional baseball, but they can send him to a junior college for 1 year. The player can then be signed for up to $225,000 the following year. The policy is meant to help players who display the ability but haven't had much playing time or aren't mature enough for professional baseball, which is good.
I like that.
You're getting guys.
You're
getting guys in the system early, but you're also giving them that time to mature and grow before you make them an actual professional. It can help you with guys that you're drafting in some of the later rounds where it's I'm in the draft. I just wanted to see where I would go, but I'm actually going to go back to school. You can maybe convince them and say, look, we can draft you, right? We're drafting you. Maybe you don't get to go back to your school, but we're going to send you to a JUCO for 1 year. So you'll still be in school, right, before you're professional. And then next year, instead of going through this whole draft process again, you just sign with us for $225K. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of players will jump at that.
How about some of the guys that may be coming off an injury?
Exactly.
Maybe they're a senior. And you're like, well,
and they need
you know
that
what?
1 year.
Exactly. And you think about it, and you say to yourself, well, what's my best opportunity? I think that might actually be my best opportunity to do that. I could prove I'm healthy, and then I get my 200 and whatever it is. So moving on from that, it gives me a headache even hearing all this stuff anymore. I'm so tired of it. Tweet of the week, Francis. The tweet of the week is you.
Hey.
You are the tweet of the week. There it is, though. Beautiful clapping. So Francis said, at Yankees fans, which combo would you prefer? You're welcome to defend your pick in the comments. And again, it was a poll. So Story and Olsen, as you see on your screen right now, Correa and Rizzo, and Peraza and Stopgap. Story and Olsen won 44.7%. Correa and Rizzo was 35.4%. And then Peraza in a stopgap was 19.9%. You guys on the screen are seeing exactly who I voted for. And that was Correa and Rizzo. And I could go ahead and defend that. But again, make sure you follow our tweet of the week. It is, of course, Francis, but at @1FrancisLee. Make sure you guys go ahead and follow Francis. Francis, but yeah, man, talk a little about that poll.
It's interesting. I put this out there because I wanted to see where fans' heads, are at. I know I knew I was gonna get the people in the comments who were gonna, say Olsen and Correa or Freeman and Correa, right? Like it has to happen kind of thing.
Right.
So I'll lead with that. Like the reason I didn't put those as options is because I don't see them as realistic. I feel like if the Yankees not so much Olsen and Correa, I think that is realistic. But that's also like a really easy, like if I put Olsen and Correa, like that would have won by a landslide.
No doubt about it.
So I was like, I want to see something different. That's why I didn't do that one. Freeman and Correa, I didn't put that because that's unrealistic. They're not going to spend the money that it takes to get Correa and then also spend the money that it takes to get Freeman. As much as we would love them to do that, as much as we know that they could do that and still be okay financially, they'd just be over the thresholds and have to pay taxes, which they have plenty of money to do. We know that they're not going to do that.
Right.
So I didn't put that as an option. Story and Olsen won. I think that is a very formidable duo in terms of defense and what they bring to the team offensively. Yep. We know Olsen is a left-hander. We know that he would do damage in Yankee Stadium. We know that Trevor Story is a great defensive glove. He gets overlooked because of how many premium defenders there are at that position, but make no mistake about it, Trevor Story is no slouch on the defense at shortstop, and he is a very good offensive shortstop.
Yep.
He is coming off a bit of a down year, but I don't think anybody's too worried about that, and he will get paid because people do still believe in him.
I believe in him, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think people should. I think people should. Like, I think we've said it time and time again. If Correa's not the guy, but Story is the guy, like, yeah, we'll be like a little down that they could have went and got the best option available, but we're also not going to shoot ourselves in the foot because they signed Trevor Story.
Right.
Like, Trevor Story would be a great get. If they did go Peraza, right, or a stopgap, it changes where I go with it. Like if it's Peraza, I feel okay because he's one of our guys. You're giving a kid a shot. If it's a stopgap, I'm a little upset because it's like, why not just give Peraza the shot?
Yeah,
you're not trading him for Olsen.
Simmons or those guys make no damn sense.
And
you're bothering your fan base, by the way.
Yeah,
when you do that. And in all honesty, you are not in touch with your fan base if you do that.
No,
everybody admits that Peraza can play up here. Everybody admits it. Everybody admits it. Everybody knows. And here, hey, remember what we just talked about too? Calling those guys up, letting them stay up there.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what Peraza does? If Peraza is 3/4 of the player he was last year, he might get you something.
He's getting you a draft pick.
Yeah, you
check it out. I was gonna say, I was a little disappointed with Michael K this week because he went on.
What did Big Head say?
He went on Talking Yanks, and he was saying that. I mean, basically, the way he spoke about the possibility of the Yankees signing Simmons, like, was just. I was like, yeah, but Michael, like, you talk to Yankee fans all day, like, how could you suggest that on the air? Like, it'd be something that they should be okay with a little bit. Like, there's no world where the Yankees should be okay with Andrelton Simmons as the opening day starter.
Was there any pushback on him?
Not enough, in my opinion. Not enough. I don't know if they hurt. I don't know if they like were in a rush to get to other questions or whatever. But I felt like there should have been a little more pushback. Like, hey, come on, Michael. You know why Yankee fans don't want Simmons.
Here's what I would say to him: Why?
Why Simmons? Yeah.
In all reality, why Simmons? Give me. Oh, he's been there. What has that done for the Yankees?
Well, Michael's response was like, he's a very good glove defensively and things like that. Which is, yes, I understand that's what people's talking points have been for Simmons. But let's dive into a little bit of those analytics numbers that you guys love so much and look at where he's been at defensively the last couple of years. It may surprise you. I'm not going to say one thing to the effect of to one side or another. I'm just going to implore you guys to go look at some of those numbers.
Maybe you're better at this with me. What is he going to get? 6-7 year deal?
Simmons?
Yeah. 1 year, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. If I'm guessing on Simmons, I would say 3 years with an option. How old is he?
He's not that old. You think he gets 3 years? You don't think he gets a 1 year deal?
Let me pull that up. I can see him signing a 1-year deal 100%.
What,
If it's
what
with the
amount
Yankees,
of money would you think?
if it's with the Yankees, I would say a 1-year deal with an option with a team option for 2. And I would say money wise,
And again, don't got to be wrong or right. Ballpark.
12 million.
Are
12 million?
Are the Yankees out their fucking mind? If they do it, I'm gonna repeat it again. And yes, you will hear me going at the Yankees immediately upon that, because explain
He's 32.
to me why.
He's 32. So he's 32. So I wonder about the 1-year deal, because he's 32, and then if he gets injured in the 1 year, it's going to be hell to get another contract.
And then
so I feel like
the other name out there is a name that I said Jose Iglesias before him.
Mm-hmm.
However you feel about that, I don't think either one of them are good. I don't want either one of them. I'm just saying, why would you not go to Oswald Peraza? He's on your 40-man roster. What is the reason not to go to Peraza here when you're admitted? Any scout you talk to, you don't got to take my word for it. Go look up the scouting reports. He's a major league shortstop right now defensively. I'm sorry. Hold on. That was what Brian Cashman said. Defensively.
That's what Cashman said. Oh, I thought that's what you were saying. Okay.
He could hit here now. He would adjust to this league. He's not going to hit 210. I'm telling you right now. He's not going to hit 200. This kid could hit. He could hit.
Look, at the end of the day, there's
he's everything
no way
this team needs. I'm not rooting for him to be the Yankee shortstop. I'm answering the poll question. Like we brought that up.
Yep.
If you go stopgap, forget the stopgap and put Peraza and see what he is. He doesn't hold Volpe back. He doesn't do none of that. He's a shortstop. You want to then go out there and get somebody? Get a Jonathan VR on the bench.
Yeah.
Get somebody like that you could put that it's not I got to play shortstop. It's I could fill in there. But I could also play second, third, left field, right field. He does all that stuff. He's another perfect guy for the Yankees. Make your bench strong with the guys around him. But put him there. And then get a good first baseman. Get somebody legit. If it's Rizzo, it's Rizzo. If you guys go that bad, then you don't get none of the big guys we expect. Get Rizzo back. Put Peraza as short. And maybe you sign a Suzuki. I don't know. Maybe you make a trade for a starting pitcher. I don't know. I don't have the answers. We don't know what it is yet. But if it's a stopgap, get rid of the word. Forget giving these other guys money, and give it to your guy that's in your organization.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I'm just gonna second that notion. I don't want to see Andrelton Simmons as a New York Yankee. I'm sorry. Man. I don't.
No.
I don't.
Michael
I don't
K should
care.
know better.
Michael K should
know better than that.
That's what really just kind of threw me off.
You're always
in a sense.
associated with people on Twitter.
Like, he talks to fans every day. He knows how badly we feel about the idea of having him be our shortstop. There's just no world where the Yankee fan is going to be okay with that. And I'm one of those people who 100% agrees. There's just no world where they should be okay with that. I'm sorry, but if you're somebody who's out there saying, "Nah, man, we got to be a little bit more grateful." I mean, Andrelton Simmons. Listen, man, go screw. we don't got to be grateful for Andrelton Simmons. We do not have to be grateful for that. We're not going from Gleyber Torres to fucking Andrelton Simmons and calling that. Well, we started the offseason by saying we need to improve.
At least we got a shortstop. Shut up.
Yeah, but it's bullshit. They start the year saying you have to improve at shortstop and go into opening day with Andrelton fucking Simmons.
And on top of it,
give me a break.
Our GM is out there saying, "Well, it's a top priority," and that's
where I'm getting it from. That's where I'm getting it from.
you
said it came out. The words came out of Brian Cashman's mouth that shortstop would be a priority.
What?
A priority. You can't say that and have Andrelton Simmons be your opening day shortstop. I'm sorry, you can't. And if you're Hal Steinbrenner, don't think that we forgot what you said last year during the season. You cannot come out and say that the problem that we're having now is a player problem, not a leadership problem, and then proceed to put out a team next year that consists of the same players for the most part, and then Andrelton Simmons.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me a fucking break.
Can't do that.
And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect way to wrap this show up. I mean, I think that's everybody's feelings right now where we are. We're frustrated with baseball 1. We're frustrated with our team because they ain't done jack shit yet, and we understand that. We know when it comes back, hopefully it's good things and it's not stuff that we got to go crazy about. But anyway, man, you can take it out. You can take it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all already know. For your boy Francis Lee, for Pete Simonetti. Keep it locked. Stay tuned. Remember, please like, subscribe, share this video. Go to Apple, subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and stay tuned because
tell us how much you love us.
Exactly. Leave a review and stay tuned because the next episode will in fact be the best episode.
And you know we will never come whack on a Designated Spittaz track. Talk to you guys next time. Adios.
Before it hits the front page, NY1